Good evening, all of you. I hope I'm audible at the back. I'm happy to be here in Coimbatore, the city of entrepreneurs. And today's topic is quite apt for the city of entrepreneurs to get into the global radar, to get into the competitive excellence. So today's panel discussion, I would like to call upon all the panelists here. Mr. Sridharan R, who is the head of manufacturing engineering in CRI Pumps. So please. Mr. P.V. Sivaram, who is the Managing Director of B&R Industrial Automation. Mr. Vijay Kumar, who is the Head of Process Engineering and Automation in Roots Industries. Mr. T.S. Sundaram is the Joint Managing Director of Super Machine Works. Mr. Sushanta Patnaik, who is the CEO of Lakshmi Ring Travelers. Mr. Jay Kumar Venkatesan, who is the Head of Global Repair Operations in Tractor India. As all of you know, and all of you must have been reading, that today the smart and intelligent manufacturing is the need of the day. Every factory is talking about their needs of having the connected shop floor. I would like to give the example of two mobile phones. Mobile phone is the best medium to get connected with the world. When mobile phones were launched, probably in 1995 or 96, that time it was considered as a luxury item, and not many people were really going for it. But now if you see, mobile has become the necessity. What all we can do with the mobile phone, it's like we can just imagine. Next few years will be again, we have to just keep on imagining what we can do with the mobile phones. Second example I would like to give is the automotive industry. In cars, probably just to give an example, the reverse parking camera and reverse parking sensor that used to be the luxury and available only in the high-end cars, but which is now available in across all the variants. So similarly, the advanced technologies like Industry 4.0 or IIoT, which people probably might see as, okay, this is not my cup of tea. Why I need it now? But we have to understand, we have to be globally competitive, we have to be on the global radar, you have to make yourself competitive in the globe, not just the domestic market, but the global market, and to help yourself get into that high growth mode. So, in this context, today's topic, that's Industry 4.0 and IoT, what is in it for me? To discuss this, to discuss the challenges which the manufacturers are facing in terms of implementing automation and in terms of implementing the advanced technologies, and then just devise the roadmap for cost-effective implementation of these advanced technologies. So with this, I would like to, if you see, I'm sure in next few years, almost every manufacturer, like what is happened to mobile phones or the advanced technologies in cars, that will same thing will happen in the Industry 4.0 or IoT. So in almost every manufacturer, I'm saying almost every manufacturer will go for the digitization or use of this technology. I just came across one article I was reading recently, which was suggesting that by 2018, whoever are using this advanced technology concept, so only 30% of the manufacturers who are investing in this digital transformation will be able to maximize the outcome. And the remaining 70% will be hindered by some challenges, like outdated business models or outdated technology or outdated supporting infrastructure. So this is quite concerning. So we need to understand what are the challenges, we need to understand what are the implications of adopting these technologies, we need to understand how I can invest in this technology and expect the return on investment on this. So I'm sure today's panel discussion will provide answers to these kind of challenges, in these kind of issues. And I have specifically invited people as panelists who are into manufacturing, and it will be interesting to know what challenges they are really facing in terms of getting modernizing the factories or getting into automation, what kind of challenges they are facing in terms of increasing the productivity, increasing the product quality. So once you understand the real-time challenges from the manufacturers or manufacturing professionals, then it will be easy for us to decide the roadmap, and that those will be questions posed to B&R Automation. Who can take those understanding, who can take those issues, take those challenges, and provide a solution that how we can go ahead, what would be the next step to go into the digitization or to go into the Industry 4.0 implementation. So with this, I would like to start with the first question. We need to understand the challenges first. So what are the challenges faced by manufacturers currently in terms of automating their factory operations, and currently how much is the overall general percentage of automation in Indian manufacturing industry? I will start with Mr. Sridhar. I think there are mics available, you can see it here. Okay, where are the mics? Can you get one more mic?
Sure.
Can you start speaking? It will, this voice activated.
Thank you, Shekhar. It's nice meeting the Coimbatore team here.
It's not on, I'm sorry. It needs to be on.
That's all. Thank you, Shekhar. It's nice meeting all the Coimbatore team here. A lot of known faces, so it's really exciting to talk in front of them. See, I'm speaking as an end user of Internet of Things. I'm from CRI Pumps, Coimbatore. As you all know, we make motors and pumps. So when it comes to automation, in most cases, there is no standard solution available. So which means we need to talk to a lot of people in understanding what are the various solutions available. And even before we start talking to a lot of people, the important thing is we need to be clear what we really need, what the organization needs. So that is itself is one big challenge. So in most scenarios, if you see the management or the senior business leads talk about automating their factory. But in most of the scenario, they end up, how much should I automate is a big question. Automation levels varies from situation to situation. Even inserting a simple component into another using a pneumatic cylinder is automation, but that involves a manpower. The next level could be like everything is stored in chutes and the machine automatically does everything. That's the next level of automation. So where to stop the automation is one big challenge which each and every individual in the organization are suffering. So the companies has to be very clear on how much they should automate. Okay, how do we do it? Yes, there are ways to do it using ROI methodology, or what is the real problem? The level of automation to be decided based on the investment and the benefits which will be returned after completing the automation, and the real problem they have in their organization. The other subject is about the detailed knowledge of the current manufacturing process. That is very important before we get into automation. So the reason why we need to be very clear on the processes that we do is that the automation suppliers has to be very clearly explained on what we need. This is one typical situation which happens during the first meeting when an automation supplier, probably like B&R comes, their first question will be, what do you need? What do you expect me to do? So the situation is, the company as an end user or as a manufacturer has to prepare very clearly on what is their expectation before they initiate the automation process. And the next thing comes is finding a suitable partner to initiate the automation process and implement the automation process. In most scenarios, the discussions happen with the top three or a budget partner. The criteria varies from company to company. But I feel it is very important that we need to identify a partner who understands your company a lot and who is ready to understand in detail the processes what you are doing. And in fact, as a person who have interacted with quite many automation suppliers, no single companies whom you have invited comes to us and say, no, I'm not ready to do it. There are very limited people who are very clear on their roles, they come and say that, but 99% of the suppliers come and say, yes, I will do this for you. So, which means we need to be very cautious and clear as an end user, whether they are the right suppliers and what are their skill sets and what is their experience on our way of working. The other challenges was traditionally there used to be lesser acceptance from the workmen, which no more is a constraint at the moment. Now the scenario has changed a lot and many workmen come and ask for automation to ease their work. So that is no more a challenge now. So the challenge from my perspective is only understanding yourself better and talking to the right automation partner and explaining them in detail what their requirement is. And if you ask me as a percentage, yes, it varies from company to company. I don't
in general, just across the manufacturing.
In general, I would say it would be 25 to 30% of the companies are automated. And within a company also, the level of automation will change. Like a department A could be automated fully, whereas the department could be moderately automated. So this is some, what any number you say would be right in my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Season, for the detailed answer. I think you provided answers to my further questions also. I'll come to Mr. Patnaik. So what are your views in terms of whatever Mr. Season mentioned? Do you agree with the same kind of challenges, or you have anything new to put forward?
Yeah, more or less, but something to add up. The companies who have got machines which are very old, like we have machines which are purely mechanical machines, probably electrical motor with a gearbox. And recently we invested on a huge facility which is completely SCADA control. So there are machines without any electronics to recent machines which are full of automation. So you have to make a connected factory, make a complete SCM as an automated process, right from a order booking to dispatch. Then that is where there will be problem that what do I do with the old machine which are still performing. Now, so far the new machines are concerned, for example, our ring traveler business where the world leader, the volume is huge, and old machines operate at a low speed, new machines operate at 3 times the speed. So the mechanical integrity of the old machine will simply not allow me to increase the speed just by adding a drive. So it calls for a strategic decision whether we should invest, scrap this old one, invest a new one, or have two kind of models that we have a fast running line for regular fast moving items, and those are slow moving, we will run it in the mechanical. That could be one strategy. So, so far the percentage is concerned, some of the, like he said, some of the things we are nearly 80%, but some of the points we are not even 5% automation. Some of the places where, like our foundry business, at this moment we are, I would say, 0 to 5% automation. There is hardly any automation. We are planning to do it maybe to 20% in next 2 years' time. That's all is possible. Whereas our plating line itself, now nickel plating line is truly automated, whereas the hard chrome, we decided not to do any automation because of the size of the valve and automation, the cost of investment, which the ROI doesn't justify the investment. So it will vary department to department, company to company, product line to product line, process to process. Whereas making it a complete connected factory, that is where I see that lot of handheld terminal with internet compatibility or Wi-Fi compatibility. Even if the process is not automated, the data transfer can be automated. To that extent, it will help the people to go into Industry 4 norms or IIoT.
Okay. I will come to Mr. Sundaram now. So, do you think whatever challenges the panelists mentioned about the automation in fully or half or just in parts? So, and when they are mentioning that the percentage of automation in general in Indian manufacturing industry is just about 20 to 25%, and in case of maybe SMEs it may vary from 5 to 10%. This is really a concern because we don't know how the industry is operating. It's concern as well as the opportunity also.
Very true, and I would just like to say good evening to all. See, I am a medium scale industry. I have a medium scale industry. I can take my own case as an example here. See, we use automation products in our end product. We get a lot of servers and a lot of automation products we use in our end product. But for our manufacturing setup, because of the size of batch quantities, is not permitting us to go for a full-fledged automation. Because we need to have a process industry sort of setup to just streamline the process at each stage so that it can be fully automated. We have batch quantities, I could say like, just like any industry, like 50 numbers or 100 numbers of each batch volumes. And then it goes to different processes at different setups. So we just need to find a solution where things can be synchronized and then just like the just-in-time process which can be utilized there. And for me, if you could ask like this, like the first step in implementation of this IoT will be the inspection process.
Correct.
So I would strongly say that way. So that we can have a track of components which is going from the first channel to the next channel. And there I think in at every stage, instead of manufacturing, moving into hardcore manufacturing, maybe the inspection will be the best way at each stage to get into automation.
To understand first what are the exactly supporting infrastructure and then go into what is required.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Mr. Vijay Kumar, you have been into automation and you have been heading the automation division. How do you see, how is the understanding level of these advanced technology concepts like Industry 4.0, IoT in India among the business owners, among the decision makers? How do they look at these advanced technologies? Are they looking at, okay, this is not my cup of tea? Are they looking at, okay, this is very high end, then I don't need it now? So what is exactly the perception?
Good evening, Mohan. Yeah, it is a valid question, good question. Before that, I want to explain how the industry works in different industries. So if you see, there are four main important things. One is customer, another is manufacturing, third is management, and the workforce. These four key things are very important for an organization. Here, the customer means the customer asks everything that is the product. So at any point of time, different variants in the product. So there, we need to act fast. So here, the flexibility and speed is very critical. So we need to make quickly and also flexibly with different variants. So I think you have seen many products with different variants. So that is one thing. So here we need to establish proper capacity and other things. So second is manufacturing. I think for the manufacturing, I think the facilities installed, capacity and everything, cycle time and everything is done. But here the quality is another thing where the focus is on. So because every customer asks for some ppm level, say 10 ppm or 20 ppm, again it depends on the products. So there are a lot of flow data flow or many things flowing across the company to maintain the quality. So that is also another critical factor. The third thing is management. So management is always ask for cost. So that is another thing. So there are measuring product cost, so processes, the cycle time reduction, the quality cost, the logistic cost. So there are many costs involved for a company. Another thing is the workforce. So where we need to train the people, appropriate levels, appropriate functions. So if these four things are balanced, then it is easy for going to next level. So then automation is concerned. So because the main thing is the top man should focus on implementing automation, otherwise it will not happen. So again, this workforce. So the management has to train some people to implement automation in the company. That is very key things I have seen in many companies. So because they are, because training of workforce is very important. Otherwise, the top man can think that this is useful for a company to meet the customer demands. He buys a machine, but
Down the line there is no...
down the line they don't have anything. So then it is very difficult to operate the machine. So first, to create a base or create a workforce to implement the automation in a company. So that is very important factor. Most of the companies are implementing automation because if you see in machining industries, so I think there are a lot of machines. So like there are many companies that are already in. So they are not using conventional machines. So nowadays, 90% of the machining industry is converted to automatic. So there you can easily implement the IoT kind of solution. Automobile also is somewhat matured product. So there also it is again it is easy to implement. So like textiles, I don't have any experience, but I think it seems that there is a possibility of introducing a lot of automation.
Okay.
So I think because I can give you one example. So how the pressure of, because many industries use air as a medium for operating the system. So initially, so when I joined as a trainee in a company, so there we use air pressure gauge to operate a machine. So we set say 4 bar or 5 bar. So at that time, physically the operator has to check whether it is within the limit or not. If he is not set the pressure, so the machine, the product will get quality defects. So after that, so it convert to pressure transducer. So it will do analog signal. So we can set the limit of the pressure gauge. So that is another transistor. Third level of automation is, so the pressure gauge is interlocked with the machine. So if the pressure is low, it will not operate. So that is another level. So fourth level is we can give signal to the maintenance person whenever the pressure is down. So it can give signal to the maintenance person whether the air compressor is a problem or something. So like that we can automate. Okay, I think you answered your question.
Yeah, correct. I'll come to Mr. Sivan now. You heard about the challenges, about the training the workforce, about the decision of the top management, which can go down the factory level, and of course the cost. So how do you want to address this kind of challenges? Of course, this is little automation is concerned, but for B&R it can be an opportunity. So how do you want to address this kind of challenges?
Hello? Yes. Thank you, Shekhar. The questions are really various and multifold, and few of them are actually speaking societal challenges, because if you want to get an entire workforce oriented towards a evolutionary concept, it is in human nature that everybody resists a change. No matter what is the change, there will be immediately resistance to change, and to overcome that is a kind of a societal change. But let us talk about the other thing now. There is also an evolutionary challenge. The very fact that the marketplace has become a global market, which means that we do not only compete with the manufacturer who is in the next street or in the next state, we have to compete with the world. And if somebody else is going on a rapid path of automation, and through which he is able to achieve advantages of cost, energy and quality, and is able to bring the products of a better specification, better quality at a lower price to your customer, then it becomes no longer a matter of choice, but a matter of survival. And this is a stage where we are rapidly moving towards, when we see that barriers of trade are all the time falling. And therefore we have to look at these challenges from that angle, and move ourselves from the, let me say, position of comfort. It is difficult, it is a challenge, it is uncomfortable, yes. But I think there is no choice. So we have to find ways. And once we accept that the change is inevitable, then I think we can find a lot of good answers. I will take an analogy from a much more advanced concept, where again there is also a resistance. We all hear about it, is very sensational, the thing about driverless car. It is, even to imagine it is a little scary, how a driverless car will go through Coimbatore and come out unscared. Yes, but at the same time, if we would notice over the past few years, many of our cars, to some small extent, larger extent, drive themselves. There are more and more functions which are automated. There is still a driver, he applies the brakes, but the application of the brake, it goes through a control loop of an automation. Yes? The headlamps, the windscreen wipers, if there is a rain falling, the wipers will automatically start. Yes? There are safety functions, there are, when you want to park, there is a parking assistance, there is a rear view, and the fellow shows you, and if you are close to collision, it will give you an alarm. So there are various stages of automation, and depending on from where you are starting, I think we should pick up the appropriate level of automation. So rather than making some process straight away fully automatic, you can go in for worker assistance through automation. Then the worker will also feel that his job has become easier. Take a simple example for automotive like a pick to light. Which component to pick up? Okay, the light comes there, you pick up the component from that pin. His life becomes easier and he will welcome it. And in that way, you can move along the path of making it more and more comfortable. Then there was, of course, the question that, everybody is afraid of loss of jobs. Yeah, there is another issue there. But again, I say the same thing. You will lose jobs to a robo here or to a robo sitting in Japan. Right? If you are not doing it, they are doing it. And from somewhere the threat comes. So it is not a question of looking for this or that. Because the customer, as a customer, each one of us, when I am a worker, I am also a customer. And I would like to have a better product and a cheaper product, there is no doubt about it. And if two are available, then I will buy the better and cheaper product always. Right? So therefore it is a compulsion, we have to do that. Thirdly, after all these years, just because we are somewhere reluctant, finding it difficult, inhibited to use automation, would I still want my people to earn 300 rupees a day by carrying bricks on their head? For how long? I think it is also somewhere a social responsibility that we must move these people up the social path and give them better jobs.
Yes.
Through which they can earn more than what they are earning today. And to improve their purchasing capacity, so that whatever is the fears about return on investment, etc., will get automatically, answered. This is my...
That's a really interesting part of automation, that taking one level up from the workers level, instead of making them carry bricks and earn little money, they can be utilized in some other operations which can pay them more, and whatever they are doing now, carrying the bricks, that can be automated with some kind of machines and some kind of other systems. That's interesting.
Can I just answer one more question, because you had asked that management perceives a risk when they want to embark on an automation project, because whether the ROI will be justified, whether it will at all work, right? There is a doubt. In every project there is a doubt there, whether it will really finally work and give the results which has been projected in the beginning by the consultant, right?
In the presentation.
Or even the vendor, let us say. Okay, but there is also a possibility, and particularly with the more automation, that we can work with other tools like simulation, like rapid prototyping, like proof of concept, tabletop testing, and so on, by which we can diminish the overall risk and understand upfront with a smaller investment whether we are moving in the right direction, whether that which we are doing is something which will solve my problems. So these tools are available and they are in practice in many places. And I think that is also something which we can use. This is where, for instance, some of the very sophisticated projects give benefits for very down-to-earth kind of things. Like, for example, you would not shoot off something into the space without doing a lot of simulation and testing beforehand. I mean, you will not just, you know, multi-million-dollar rocket is not going to be just try it and see it whether it's going to work, right? So those tools we can also use. It's possible and it's available. And internet is a, you know, big source of such knowledge and information.
Correct. Yeah, Mr. Jaikumar, you have been working with your customers for a long time. So, what internal challenges are normally posed by customers whenever you operate with some solution? What kind of, is it very easy to convince the management and then the decision flows down the level to the factory level? And what kind of changes or what kind of questions they normally come up with?
Good evening. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Handling customers is actually a sensitive matter. Because we don't know customer starts in the industry from where to where. Okay, whether it starts from the top level or it is the technician. We call all of them as a customer, whether the decision maker or he is a technical person over there. So the handling customer at a different level has to be done in a different manner. The needs of every person is different. So that's what we generally understand when we are interacting with the customer. For example, the floor level person wanted his life to be more simplified. The top level management expects everything should be cost effective and it has to be done with a minimum people. So the trade-off is always, so you have to see what is the balancing everybody and doing things. And in today's scenario, I can say the customers are facing certain type of difficulties whom they want to put to talk to us. Because the automation I feel in India will go very extensive. And I don't see a 10%, 20%. If you ask me, I will say 90% and 100% on some sectors. Where people are shy to work, they are not interested to work. So this is my feeling.
Okay. Yeah, if you consider probably automotive industry, which is like becoming global, already becoming global. So there the automation percentage were really quite high because they have all the multinationals are already in India and they have to compete with the world. Yeah. No, my next question would be then to Mr. Sridharan. So, do you think under the current situation, when you say there are not many factories are really automated or modernized, they are not using really advanced systems there. So, do you think is it the right time to go for Industry 4.0 or IoT in the manufacturing industry? Or the first step would be to automate first and then go for this?
Very obviously, what you said would be right. We obviously cannot get into Industry 4.0 when the whole lot of activity is manual. There should be some amount of infrastructure which the operator is working on. There should be some machine to assist him or do his job. Then it becomes easier for the integrated to get into the machine and collect the data and perform all the analysis which is required. But still, nevertheless, saying that, it does not state it is 100% not possible. Yes, There can be a simple HMI or an MMI which is attached to the operator table when there is no machine at all, and still we can do this. But my suggestion is that would be a situation that we are doing it for the sake of doing it. The requirement has to be a step-by-step approach wherein the operator's workload is eased or reduced, and the machine which reduces his workload or eases his workload should be integrated to the central computers or whatsoever it is, and the data shall be collected for analysis and manipulation.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Patnaik, do you think currently the Indian factories or Indian manufacturing industry is ready for adopting these advanced concepts like Industry 4.0 or IoT?
Yeah, so far the understanding is concerned. I think it's growing. But what will be more important than understanding is the acceptance. Even down to grassroots level, like the operator level, as well as the management level. So there has to be an acceptance because this calls for a change. And any change will come with its own resistance. So everybody will be interested to know, management will say, if I invest, what do I get back? Operator will say, now will my job be at stake if I go for automation? So taking the stakeholders into confidence will be required, and everybody would love to do this. It's something like somebody is driving a car with gear, he will love to drive car without auto transmission. So that is the thing, but they will definitely expect a benefit back to them. So once we explain them that if you go for this, this is the advantage, then the acceptance will increase. And knowledge is definitely increasing, like last 2 months I think this is the second seminar I'm attending. So through seminars, through magazines, and sometimes the customer, those who are exporting abroad, will say, are you getting ready for Industry 4 IoT or not? So then the people will start getting up, okay, what is this, they're going to the net, and data is available.
Correct.
So slowly the awareness is building up, but parallelly the automation company had to do something to take the stakeholders into confidence. Then it will be successful.
Okay. Mr. Vijay Kumar, how is normally the automation perceived? How is the automation is normally perceived in the industry? That you already answered that okay, initially there might be some resistance, but down the line on the factory level, people want their job to be more easier. But again, it has to be get convinced with the top management. Now, when it comes to Industry 4.0, this advanced concept, how is normally how can the industry welcome those kind of advanced concepts to get into it, considering the top management's involvement, top management's acceptance in that level, and down the line factory floor people, because currently everybody is aware of what is Industry 4.0. Many people are on the internet, they are reading, people are going to the internet, they are researching in it, and there are lots of seminars happening on this topic. People are attending it. But when it comes to implementation, there is always kind of whether I should go for it or not. So how do you take this?
Yeah, the first thing is nowadays we are using all smartphones. So before 15 years back we used Nokia 1100. So now if we don't use smartphones, so we are out of world. That is what the present situation is. So definitely the Industry 4.0 will be full-fledged in some few years. So it will take few years because everybody get aware of what is what. So that will happen. So nowadays I could see a lot of companies, they don't implement some automations. So they are, if you see that company, so you can see it is very traditional and they don't improve the processes. Always they depends on manpower. So if that particular person is on leave, so they don't produce the component. If that particular person is not available, they don't produce good quality of components. That we can see a lot of SMEs.
Okay. Is that happening?
Yeah, that is also happening.
Okay.
Yes. So we are far away. That is, so if you can see in Coimbatore there are a lot of SMEs are there. Still, if you say that gap is there, so they are in 3. So there's much gap is there. But many companies like us, they already started implementing automation and other things. If you see in Germany, there are a lot of exhibitions going on. Stuttgart, Motec is there. So you can see around 100 or 200 companies, their main job is automation. So if you see in our India, there are a lot of exhibitions going on. The Indian companies you name, So we can count in numbers. So there is a large gap is there. So the potential is very high. So the India, the potential is very high for automating the manufacturing area. So it starts from what I told now, that is from, there is a flexibility and flexibility manufacturing system, the quality. So again, capturing the cost and the training of the workforce. So once this is done, definitely the scope is very high. So the people mindset is also changing because you can see in, I think I am using Samsung phone. So there is a health option, Samsung Health. So irrespective of our awareness, it captures our movement and it will tell, so you are walking this much. So you are not moving many times. So can you reduce the goal? So like that is asking. So definitely, so the people get aware of these things. So it will slowly change. But like you, so you have to give some training to the companies like us. So continuously you have to interact with companies to get, so what is your, so like, so what is the innovation happened because you are a global company, so you are meeting different companies, different product suppliers, customers. So always you have to give what is happening, what is the new latest technology you have introduced. So like that you have to interact with the companies and we also get benefited. So what is the latest technology like that? So if you, that is what needed now.
Okay. Mr. Sundaram, what is normally the take from the top management that if you feel the need, okay, my neighboring company or my competitor has been using advanced technology, so I have to use it, this without compulsion, it's the peer pressure kind of thing. So what is your take on this? That whether we should go for Industry 4.0 right now because my competition is using it?
Basically, inventory control is it's a basic requirement of any company for growth. I would say, like, in terms of manufacturing the parts and in terms of sourcing the parts, and right from my suppliers and always from other people, the edge would be the time, price, and the accuracy levels, all these things. So what my competitor is doing, I would like to have a better cutting edge over here. So it's basically like not only for the manufacturers, to other areas also. So it includes industrial sourcing also.
So, Mr. Sivaram, so when you come across this kind of scenario, when the company says, okay, my factory is not that, doesn't have that kind of automation in place already. So whether to get into Industry 4.0 or IoT just now, will it make sense? So what should be the next step for those kind of companies?
Actually, I would like to divide this into 3 parts. First thing is this Industry 4.0 is actually in its full form industrial revolution, the 4th industrial revolution. And a revolution is actually a disruptive process. You do not choose whether I am going to be in the revolution or I am not going to be in the revolution. You will be affected by it. You will be thrown up by it. Okay? If we notice, for example, if we trace back the first industrial revolution of the steam, right? India was somehow not part of it for whatever reasons. We were under colonial rule, etc., etc. But because of that, we lost out an entire opportunity in joining a manufacturing chain. And therefore we ended up as mere consumers of what the cloth mills in England produced. And we didn't have a choice. So in every such revolution, the early movers will actually have an advantage. And whoever moves fast will actually swamp the market and dominate everybody else who is not actively moving into it. Therefore, it is a fallacy to think that I will join it when I am ready. You know, it's like if you are going in for a wrestling match and you say, okay, I will start when I am ready. The other guy is already ready. He is coming and falling on the top of you. I mean, you don't have much choice afterwards to get into the action. So I would say, first of all, that it is urgency. Secondly, yes, now depending on the level of preparedness, how do we start moving forward? Industry 4.0 is not a BIS standard or a ISI standard or a DIN standard. Industry 4.0 is to be able to connect all your processes seamlessly so that you are able to monitor them in an efficient manner. And yes, how efficient is efficient? Efficiency has no end. It's asymptotically going up to 100%, but never reaches there. So if you are today at 10%, next time can be at 15%. Why not? And from 15 to you go to 20. But your roadmap should be clear in your mind. Where do I have to go? This is very essential. And thirdly, automation is not like a rocket science. Let me again come back to rockets. I mean, it is something, I mean, if you are holding a phone, I mean, how much automation is there inside the phone? If you go home and operate a microwave, how much automation is there in a microwave? You pay an electricity bill. I mean, the number of levels of automation which are there in your online transaction, verification, authentication, etc., etc. I mean, we every day we use so much of it. Let us not look at something as a very alien thing. And the skills that are needed to make automation work properly and function are not much different from making your domestic electrical wiring work. I mean, most of the problems where we face when we have complicated drives or PLCs in the market, in the field, is to do with this earthing, grounding and wiring the phases properly, not with the automation per se. So I think it is a collective will that is needed, and the government of India in their wisdom have announced a thing called Make in India, where they would like to invite large multinationals to come and set up factories in India to manufacture things. That is what is Make in India. But they can do it only when they have a supply chain network which is up to the mark. They need an industry for 4.0 in these suppliers, these component suppliers in the entire supply chain, so that the supplies are predictable and of a proven quality. So I'm entirely against this concept that we will wait and see. It's not going to work. Wait and see has never worked and will not work.
Right. Yeah, but there is always tendency that I want somebody to experience it, and based on that result, I will do it. Yeah, I will continue with you only. So when it comes to implementation that of Industry 4.0, it's not just one product or one solution, it's the process.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to go through the process in phase manner. So once we decide that, we need to address the concerns in supply chains, in security, in the data monitoring, in case of also the upgradation of the knowledge. So how do you address these kind of issues when a manufacturer decides to go through this?
There are, in this chain, let's start with the fresh blood, with the bottom of the pyramid. Today we can see that largely in the engineering colleges, in the curricula, we have these kind of topics already inside, but yet there is still a gap between what is there in the theory and in the textbooks and what actually the industry wants. I mean, this is a painful thing to admit, but it is there.
There is a gap.
There is a gap. So we need to address that first. So this is now, I would say, my opinion, and B&R is doing things in this direction by intervening at the college level in the in labs to provide them with hands-on experience, with experience centers and so on. We have worked with various colleges in Pune, and also in Coimbatore, in quite a few colleges, we have given equipment so that students can work and make projects, so that when they come out, at least the fear of unknown is not there. This is something which I have never seen before or something. So that is level number 1. And level number 2 is that we want the workers, the operators, the maintenance engineers to be familiar with it. People who have been possibly out of college already 15 years, 20 years. How do we catch them? Right? So now for that we need to create awareness seminars and awareness workshops. Seminars are happening, but we are not yet seeing workshops happening, where people can come and touch and feel. So we have an association called Automation Industries Association, AIA. We are planning to launch a series of such workshops all across, starting from Delhi, to also meet up with the practicing professionals and give them some insights into how to manage that. That is the second. Now third, and the very difficult place to crack, is the top decision making level, where they need a different kind of understanding of the entire process. So here again, I'm happy to say that I'm working with CII, and CII is launching several schemes. But finally, this is a stuff which is a percolation process. It is not an injection like we can do it in one shot and there'll be a capsule like that. But it's a percolation process. But the more of us that we talk and more we repeat what we hear to other people, I think the faster the message, the good word will spread. I mean, there is no other magic to it. I mean, how did we all learn how to use smartphones? Right? I mean, even my mother was using a phone like that. I mean, whereas earlier she would not even touch any such thing. I mean, and the kids of today, I mean, they learn the video games without a manual, without anything. I mean, they just within a few minutes they pick it up. So it's possible.
Mr. Jaikumar, when anybody comes with the requirement of effectiveness of various applications, so how do you address that? Like, any manufacturer, any company has various divisions, various products they manufacture, various businesses that they deal with. Not necessarily every business has the same solution offering. So how do you differentiate that, and how do you make sure that the effectiveness of various applications is intact?
Yes, indeed a very good question. So effectiveness of any application is understanding of it. You can make any number of manuals or operating instructions, etc. And you would have trained people, but still the effectiveness comes only when you are making a periodic interactions. How far it has gone and what is the current level, and making some benchmarking, we can see the effectiveness of an application. Second thing, there is a periodic updates on the system also should be known to the customer or the internal user. Then we can bring the effectiveness of our application. Otherwise, it is developed but still not used by the people. So this is what we are seeing. So the connectivity with the people, to bring the latest things on their system of their own. It's like as we are talking about smartphone. I also want to say it's an automatic update on your phone, yes, without you are asking for it. And automatic evaluation of your system, how it is going on. So there are many methods we are following to know the effectiveness of any application with our customers.
So regular connection, regular feedback, and
yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, with this now, I would like to just decide a roadmap that once we decide to go in the flow of Industry 4.0 and IoT, that the phase we are going to start. So what should be the roadmap? What will be the first step? So I will start with Mr. Vijay Kumar. What will be the next step now? Once we decide, okay, as Mr. Sivaram mentioned, if you wish or not, you have to be in the flow. If you are out of flow, you will be out of business. It's not the question of survival. So you need to decide. So what would be the first step? What would be the roadmap to go in the flow to decide the phases where we can really get into that mode?
Yeah, first thing is I talk about only shop floor, so I don't about the administration management other things.
Yeah, shop floor.
Yeah, shop floor. So already we have some standalone machines or automatic machines, whatever may be. So already it is PLC controlled machine or computer controlled machine. So first we need to connect the machine to the internet. So to the web. So we have to take the data. If it is a common, if you see a press, common mechanical press means normally the press doesn't have any sensors or other things, controls, hardware. So we need to interface the machine with sensors and some like HMI with hardware. So we need to collect the data from the machine. So how much numbers produced, and if the machine stops, so we should know whether the machine stopped because of quality issues or machine breakdown or want of material, or sometimes the machine stops because of some decisions. So the operator has to enter these data. Say a pop money should come in the HMI.
You should be able to know in advance.
First we train the operator to enter these data. So then from HMI we can transfer the data to the computer. So from that we can connect to the ERP and cloud. So that is possible. Okay. So this awareness to be given to the companies, so whoever is handling. So if automatic, like CNC machines means, so we can already, the customers are giving the connectivity, the protocol and everything. So we can easily connect, and the software is installed, we can immediately this thing. So I think case to case, the machine to machine interface, so based on that we can decide and implement.
Okay. So according to you, the first step will be to have connection with the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Sundaram, what would be your recommendations on that? How do you get into that phase of adopting Industry 4.0 or IoT?
I would just like to second what Mr. Vijay Kumar said. It is basically about getting feedback from the existing process at each and every stage. Whatever stage the process is happening, to just get the feedback will be the first stage of implementation.
Right.
And then based on that, we can proceed. It can be quantitative, or it can be in terms of process control. It can be whatever be the process at different stage. Maybe I can just share a small thing which I personally use for my end product. We have we are making textile machines, and in our product we have a system of it's an application called Team Viewer. I think most people use that nowadays. It is just to get the feedback of the machines at site. So it helps us with a lot of time, and say like a lot of manpower, everything is saved. Similarly, in my internal applications also, this can be tried. So it's just about getting feedback at each and every point and then proceeding from there.
Correct. Yeah, that would be really appropriate way to start. Mr. Sridhar, since you are involved in the manufacturing engineering, so what would be the first step? What would be your recommendation to get into these advanced technology concepts from the engineering point of view?
While the other gentleman touched upon the technical part, even before it, a non-engineering point I would like to highlight here. Typically, a buy-in from the team is very important on it. It so really happens that each and every individual who is involved in this task should be trained and educated on the benefits. So now the situation is, earlier it used to be like machine utilization has to be monitored. So now if it is Industry 4.0 or IoT, it would be utilization of data which will be monitored. So it's more important that we shall be least worry about utilization, because this will take a utilization of data if it is handled, or all the collected data utilized in an effective way, if that is studied and reviewed. So automatically the whole factory becomes efficient and intelligent enough.
Okay. So that's my point. Correct. Mr. Patnaik?
Yeah, so here I would give a different viewpoint. Going into full-fledged automation, probably everybody will know what all to do. But the challenge will come in making them accept for such a change. So I would propose a 3-step, like step hot jump. In the sense, first step, one should know where I am. This is especially for SMEs and tiny industries, where our country contributes quite a lot with owner-driven and SMEs. So they will be little skeptical, should I jump into the full-fledged automation or good automation to start with. So first thing could be that they should understand what is the gap. And I need not close the gap in one go. So the second step could be, for example, the proof of the pudding is meeting. Suppose the automation company helps such companies or handle with them 1 or 2 examples, like your OEE is this, you do this automation, OEE goes up to this, indirectly you get this kind of benefit. So this is where they will get into conviction, yes, the automation pays me. So phase by phase, so moment there is an acceptance level across the stakeholders within the organization, then the management will happily invest on the jump phase, that is where you'll say now automation works, then they will be able to judiciously decide, okay, these are I will automate, these are the benefits. So it's more an intellectual guess to go into or not go into. So taking them into confidence, first step, understanding the gap, first step, proof of the pudding, second phase, third phase, really getting into this. The challenge will come with companies who are with owner-driven like Gen X. Situation will be different. Here, the insecurity will be very high. So if it is a second generation company run by Gen Y, it will be easy to adapt. So methodology have to change, looking at who is at the top chair. That's my point.
That's quite apt point. Yeah, Mr. Jaikumar, what would be your recommendation in this direction?
My recommendation follows Mr. Shivaram. Don't wait for anything. I mean, you cannot follow anyone in the world. You have to follow yourself. Okay? This is my word. We have to see, because today customers or anybody expects what you do for them. Okay, of your own. That's what they are looking. They are not looking at, even if you ask somebody, today I can ask many customers, what do you want? Honestly speaking, many don't know what to say. So in this case, it is like, it's not nothing wrong about that. It is like a child if you ask, very nice child of your own child. If you ask what do you want to be, I mean he or she cannot give an answer. As a father, you should sense what they need and you should bring it. So in my opinion, Industry 4.0 is the need of the hour. It's a global requirement. Everybody wants to play in a global level. They are to adopt it at the earliest possible. Yes, that's my view.
Yeah, Mr. Sivaram, your concluding recommendation?
Well, concluding recommendation, I think Mr. Jaikumar has actually given me a very good lead that, we should sense what the customer wants and give him a recommendation according to that. I really think the best thing for the customer is to come to B&R and buy from B&R all the solutions for Industry 4.0. But like every child, as a parent, when you tell them to do something, they will not do it. They will first ask why and why not and so on. So in a more serious tone, we have found that in the more successful industry verticals, like for example machine tools or automotive, the cluster approach has given a lot of benefits. That there are local regional clusters of the industries, the manufacturers of the same industry, and they form a kind of a what I call self-help group kind of thing. They can share experiences among each other. There are people there who are already advanced, some people who are still beginning. They can help each other and take benefit of the other people's experience. So I think that is one thing which I could recommend, say either industry associations or this cluster, because Government of India is promoting cluster formation rather strongly, starting from food and beverage. Because this Industry 4.0 is useful for everybody. Okay. So that is one thing. And just one small point which he had mentioned, and I would like to make a rejoinder. This team viewer, everybody says yes, team viewer, and we use it. But actually that's an unsafe practice because it is open to hacking and to cyber attacks. So there are better solutions available. And I think people should become aware of what are the dangers in using open channels and exposing your valuable asset to the universe. Actually. Yeah, but that is aside. Yeah. Not part of the answer.
Right. Yeah, so just to conclude, just in one line, that whether you want it or not, you have to be adaptable, you have to be compatible to Industry 4.0 or IoT. If you want to survive, if you want to grow, and if you want to make your presence felt in the global market. So this is the need of the day, and I urge all the participants, all the delegates in this room, not to limit the discussion, not to limit the thought in the room, but carry it with you and study it, analyze it, make yourself really into the flow of getting into that radar, and talk to different departments, talk to people in different departments in your company, talk to your vendors, talk to your suppliers, talk to automation service providers like B&R, and make yourself really a part of the game, part of that, get into that, making yourself excellent in operation, excellent in your business activities. So I thank all the participants for their valuable feedback, valuable observations, recommendations. I'm sure this will definitely help you people to know more about these advanced technology concepts like Industry 4.0 and IoT. And let's take this discussion forward. Let's discuss it more. Let's connect with each other more. Like mobile has provided you the medium to connect with each other. So similarly, Industry 4.0 and IoT will help you connect your factories, connect your inter-departments, and connect with your suppliers as well as customers. So I would like to make the audience, if you have any questions, you can ask to the panelists. Questions, observations,